Maybe stick to what you know best, Zara. Filing reports. Brad Kellerman's voice echoed through the conference room as he deliberately handed a stack of papers to Zara Williams. 30 pairs of eyes watched as she stood there, frozen. The promotion announcement board gleamed behind them, displaying Tyler Morrison's name in bold letters. 12 years. 12 years of excellence reduced to this moment. Monday morning, 9:15 a.m., Meridian Tech's main conference room buzzed with fluorescent lighting and nervous energy. The aroma of burnt coffee mixed with anticipation as employees filled every seat. Zara adjusted her simple navy blazer and checked her watch. Her practical flats made no sound against the polished floor. She'd worn her best outfit today, expecting to celebrate her long-awaited promotion to operations manager. The small succulent on her desk 3 floors below seemed like a lifetime away. Brad strode in wearing his signature charcoal suit, golf tournament cufflinks catching the harsh lighting. His Tesla key fob jingled against the mahogany table as he set down his leather portfolio. "Good morning, team." Brad's smile was practiced, political. "Today marks a significant milestone for Meridian Tech's operational excellence." Zara straightened her spine, military precision kicking in unconsciously. Elena Rodriguez caught her eye from across the room, offering an encouraging nod. "First, I'm pleased to announce my promotion to Senior Vice President of Operations." Scattered applause filled the room. This advancement reflects our commitment to visionary leadership and strategic innovation. The words felt rehearsed, empty. Zara had written half the efficiency protocols that built Brad's reputation. "Now for our new operations manager position." Brad paused dramatically, scanning the room. "Leadership requires specific qualities: vision, assertiveness, the ability to command respect from day one." Zara's heart pounded against her ribs. 12 years of stellar performance reviews. 12 years of arriving first, leaving last. 12 years of turning around failing departments and mentoring struggling employees. "I'm thrilled to introduce Tyler Morrison as our new operations manager." The room went silent. Tyler, barely 28, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. 2 years at the company. Fraternity brother connections. 0 management experience. Zara felt the blood drain from her face. Elena's sharp intake of breath was audible across the room. "Tyler brings fresh perspectives and innovative thinking to our operations team," Brad continued. "His bachelor's degree in business administration and natural leadership abilities make him perfect for this role." Natural leadership abilities. Zara had a master's in operations management and 8 years of military logistics experience before joining Meridian Tech. "Of course, we deeply appreciate Zara Williams' valuable support over the years." Brad's tone was dismissive, patronizing. "Her detailed reports and reliable assistance have been appreciated." Support, assistance. Her groundbreaking efficiency protocols that saved the company $2.3 million annually became reliable assistance. The conference room felt smaller, suffocating. 30 colleagues avoided eye contact. Some studied their phones. Others suddenly found the ceiling fascinating. Tyler stood awkwardly, accepting congratulations from employees who knew the truth. His handshake was weak, uncertain. His smile never reached his eyes. "Zara has consistently demonstrated her ability to follow instructions and maintain existing systems," Brad added, twisting the knife deeper. "These foundational skills remain essential to our success." Follow instructions. She'd redesigned their entire supply chain logistics system. Single-handedly. Elena's face was flushed with anger. Her laptop remained closed, arms crossed defiantly. 3 other senior employees exchanged knowing glances. This wasn't about qualifications. This was about something else entirely. Brad gestured toward a stack of quarterly reports on the table. "Zara, could you help Tyler get oriented? Maybe start by organizing these files for distribution?" The humiliation was calculated, deliberate. In front of everyone. reducing her to an administrative assistant while announcing her replacement. Zara's military training kicked in. Assess, adapt, survive. She walked to the table with measured steps. Her hands remained steady as she lifted the stack of papers. The cold metal of the table edge pressed against her fingertips. "Of course," she said quietly. Her voice betrayed nothing. But inside, something shifted. The tactical mind that had coordinated military supply chains in Afghanistan began analyzing patterns, connections, weaknesses. Brad's smirk was barely concealed as the meeting dispersed. Tyler approached with nervous energy, already talking about team synergy and collaborative leadership. Elena waited until the room emptied before approaching Zara. "This is insane," Elena whispered. "Your efficiency protocols alone generate more revenue than Tyler's entire department." Zara kept organizing papers, her movements precise, controlled. "Numbers don't lie, but neither do patterns." "What do you mean?" 3 female managers in 5 years, Elena. All stellar performance reviews. All suddenly relocated or restructured when promotion opportunities emerged. Elena's eyes widened with realization. "You think this was planned?" Zara's military bearing emerged fully as she straightened her shoulders. Something deeper than anger was building, strategic calculation. "I know it was planned." She turned toward Elena, her voice dropping to barely audible. "The question is, what am I going to do about it?" The conference room was empty now except for them. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The promotion announcement board mocked them with Tyler's name in fresh black ink. In her blazer pocket, Zara's phone buzzed with a text from her elderly father. "Proud of you, sweetheart. Today's your big day." She looked at Elena, then at the papers in her hands. 12 years of documentation, 12 years of proof. Will Zara accept this betrayal silently? The question hung in the air like a challenge, waiting for an answer that would change everything. Tuesday morning arrived with the familiar hum of office printers and keyboard clicks. Zara sat at her desk, the small, succulent catching morning light through her cubicle window. No corner office, no executive parking spot. Just the same workspace she'd occupied for 12 years. Her computer screen displayed the efficiency protocol she'd developed over 6 months. Project Streamline had revolutionized Meridian Tech's warehouse operations, reducing processing time by 34% and eliminating $847,000 in annual waste. Elena appeared at her cubicle divider, coffee in hand and concern written across her face. "You okay after yesterday?" "Fine." Zara's tone was measured, professional. "Adapting to new leadership structures." "New leadership?" Elena's voice dripped sarcasm. "Tyler couldn't manage a coffee shop, let alone operations." Through the glass conference room walls, they could see Tyler presenting to senior staff. His gestures were animated, confident. PowerPoint slides flashed behind him, slides containing Zara's proprietary workflow diagrams. "Is he?" Elena squinted at the presentation. "Presenting my efficiency protocol as his own innovation." Zara's voice remained steady, but her grip tightened on her coffee mug. They watched Brad nod approvingly as Tyler explained his revolutionary approach to inventory management. The same approach Zara had pitched unsuccessfully to Brad 3 months ago. "That's your intellectual property," Elena whispered. "Intellectual property requires legal recognition. I'm just support staff, remember?" The presentation concluded with enthusiastic applause. Brad clapped loudest, his satisfaction obvious even through the glass walls. Minutes later, Tyler bounded over to Zara's desk with nervous energy. "Hey, Zara, great news about the efficiency protocol approval. Really shows what teamwork can accomplish, right?" Elena stepped forward, voice sharp. "Teamwork? That was entirely Zara's—" "Team effort," Tyler interrupted smoothly. "Everyone contributed valuable insights. That's what makes us successful." Brad approached from behind, his presence commanding immediate attention. Outstanding presentation, Tyler. Exactly the kind of innovative thinking we need in leadership positions. Zara looked up from her computer. Actually, Brad, I developed that protocol independently over team effort, as Tyler mentioned. Brad's dismissal was swift, final. Good leaders know how to synthesize input from various sources. The words stung like calculated slaps. Zara's 6 months of research, testing, and refinement became input from various sources. Elena's face flushed red. This is ridiculous. Everyone knows. Elena. Zara's voice carried military authority. It's fine. But it wasn't fine. Strategic patience, she reminded herself. Document everything. Will Zara fight for her intellectual property? Wednesday brought rain against office windows and the steady drum of Tyler's cheap cologne as he paced near Zara's desk. Got a special project for you, he announced, dropping a thick folder labeled Warehouse Audit, Priority 1. Zara opened the folder. Detailed inventory analysis of 4 warehouse locations. Comprehensive financial reconciliation. Quality control assessments. Timeline? She asked. Friday. End of day. Elena looked up from her workstation. Friday? That's a 6-week project minimum. Tyler's smile was practiced, political. Zara's efficient. I'm sure she'll manage. The impossible deadline wasn't accidental. Zara had seen this tactic before. In the military, incompetent officers would set subordinates up for failure to deflect attention from their own inadequacies. I'll need access to the shared drive historical data, Zara said. Of course. Elena can help with technical access. After Tyler left, Elena immediately pulled up the shared database. This is insane. 4 warehouses, complete audit, 2 days. Elena's fingers flew across her keyboard. Let me pull the baseline files you'll need. She frowned at her screen. That's weird. What? The historical data files. They're gone. Zara moved closer. Elena's screen showed empty folders where months of inventory records should be. Deleted yesterday at 11:47 p.m., Elena read. User T. Morrison. The setup was more sophisticated than Zara had anticipated. Tyler was following someone's playbook, create impossible deadlines, eliminate necessary resources, then blame the inevitable failure on incompetence. Can you recover them? Maybe, but not by Friday. Elena's voice was grim. He's sabotaging you deliberately. Thursday's all-hands meeting felt like a tribunal. Brad stood at the front, his expression carefully neutral as he addressed the team. We need to discuss accountability and performance standards. Zara sat in the middle row, aware of every pair of eyes in the room. The warehouse audit folder sat unopened on her lap. Incomplete, impossible, exactly as intended. Some team members struggle with time management and deadline adherence, Brad continued. These fundamental skills are non-negotiable in our fast-paced environment. No names mentioned. Everyone understood the target. Zara, could you update us on the warehouse audit progress? The spotlight was blinding. 30 colleagues waiting for her public humiliation. The project requires historical data that was recently deleted from our shared systems, she said carefully. I'm working with IT to recover the necessary files. Brad's eyebrows raised in theatrical surprise. Deleted files? That sounds like a time management issue. Proper planning prevents such obstacles. Tyler nodded sagely from the front row. Maybe we need better organizational systems to track important deadlines. The knife twisted deeper. Make her look incompetent, disorganized, unreliable. Elena spoke up from across the room. Actually, the files were deleted after the assignment was given. The timestamp clearly shows... Elena, Brad's voice carried warning. Let's focus on solutions, not excuses. Will this destroy Zara's reputation permanently? Thursday afternoon brought the cruelest blow yet. Leadership coaching might benefit some team members, Brad announced casually during the quarterly review meeting, especially those who struggle with deadline pressure. Zara felt 30 pairs of eyes shift toward her. The warehouse audit sat unfinished on her desk 3 floors below, a monument to manufactured failure. Military background can be challenging to translate into corporate environments, Brad continued, his tone professorial. Following orders isn't the same as independent leadership. The room went silent. Elena's sharp intake of breath was audible. Several colleagues shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Brad wasn't just attacking her competence now. He was attacking her service, her identity, everything she'd built her career upon. Some people are natural leaders, Tyler added helpfully. Others are great at following detailed instructions. The patronizing tone was perfectly calibrated. Not quite harassment, not quite discrimination, just enough plausible deniability. Zara's military training screamed at her to respond, to defend herself, to fight back. But strategic patience required sacrifice. Document everything. Wait for the right moment. I appreciate the feedback, she said quietly. But inside, tactical calculations were accelerating. Pattern recognition. Behavioral analysis. These weren't random attacks. They were coordinated, systematic, designed to build a paper trail of manufactured incompetence. Someone had done this before. Someone knew exactly how to destroy a career without leaving legal fingerprints. Will Zara's military discipline crack under pressure? Friday arrived like an execution date. Tyler called an emergency team meeting at 4 p.m. Organizational restructuring, he announced. Efficiency improvements. The conference room felt smaller than Monday, more suffocating. Elena sat beside Zara, her laptop closed in silent protest. We're implementing new role classifications to optimize our operational framework, Tyler began, reading from prepared notes. Corporate speak for budget cuts and demotions. Zara Williams will transition to administrative coordinator, effective immediately. Tyler's voice wavered slightly. This role better aligns with her organizational strengths and attention to detail. Administrative coordinator, a $23,000 salary reduction buried in bureaucratic language. Brad watched from the corner, his satisfaction poorly concealed. These changes reflect our commitment to placing people in positions where they can excel. Excel at filing and answering phones instead of strategic operations management. Benefits packages will be adjusted accordingly, Tyler continued. Health insurance remains available through our bronze tier options. Bronze tier. Zara's elderly parents depended on her premium coverage for their medications. Elena's chair scraped against the floor as she stood abruptly. This is insane! Zara's efficiency protocols saved this company over $2 million last year alone. Elena, please! Brad's voice carried warning. These decisions are made at executive levels with full consideration of all factors. What factors? Elena's voice rose. The factor that she's the most qualified person in this room? The factor that Tyler couldn't manage a lemonade stand? Tyler's face flushed red. I think we're getting off track here. Off track? Elena laughed bitterly. The only thing off track is promoting incompetent frat boys over decorated veterans. The room erupted in uncomfortable murmurs. Several employees nodded agreement. Others studied their phones desperately. Brad's expression hardened. That's enough. These personnel decisions are final. Zara sat in perfect stillness, her military bearing intact even as her career crumbled around her. 12 years of dedication reduced to administrative coordination. But something else was building beneath the surface. Not anger. That was too simple, too emotional. This was strategic calculation at its purest. Pattern recognition was complete. The coordinated attack, the manufactured incompetence narrative, the systematic elimination of female leadership candidates. This wasn't personal. This was business, and business required strategic response. Elena stormed out, her laptop bag slung over her shoulder like a weapon. Tyler shuffled his papers nervously. Brad checked his watch, already mentally moving to his next meeting. They thought they'd won. They thought Zara Williams was finished. They had no idea what they'd just awakened. Will Zara surrender everything she's worked for? The question hung in the air like a loaded weapon, waiting for an answer that would change everything. The office was empty except for the hum of ventilation systems and the distant rumble of traffic 15 floors below. Zara sat alone at her desk, staring at the cardboard box Elena had left for her belongings. 12 years. A dozen performance reviews marked exceeds expectations. 8 employee recognition awards. 2 company-wide efficiency innovations. All reduced to this: a banker's box and a bronze-tier health insurance package. Her small succulent sat beside the box, its thick leaves catching the last rays of sunset through her cubicle window. Resilient, adaptable, surviving in harsh conditions with minimal resources, like her. Rain began pattering against the windows, each drop a tiny percussion against glass. The heating system kicked in with a mechanical sigh. In the distance, she could hear the security guard's radio crackling during his evening rounds. Zara pulled out her phone and scrolled through her father's text messages. "Proud of you, sweetheart? Today's your big day. Mom wants to know if you're celebrating tonight. Call when you can. Love you." Her elderly parents counting on her premium health coverage for their heart medications and diabetes treatments. Bronze tier wouldn't cover half their prescriptions. A single mother at 38 supporting 3 generations on one income. No safety net. No backup plan. Just 12 years of dedication that apparently meant nothing to men like Brad Kellerman. But as Zara sat in the growing darkness, something shifted in her thinking. The tactical mind that had coordinated supply chains under enemy fire in Afghanistan began analyzing patterns, connections, vulnerabilities. This wasn't random. This was systematic. She opened her laptop and navigated to the company directory. 3 female managers in 5 years, Elena had said. All stellar performers. All suddenly relocated or restructured. Sarah Chen, Operations Specialist, 2019 to 2021. Promoted to Senior Analyst, then restructured when the Assistant Manager position opened. Now working at a competitor for 40% less pay. Michelle Rodriguez, Project Coordinator, 2020-2022. Consistently exceeded targets, developed innovative client retention protocols. Downsized during the same quarter, Brad received his VP promotion. Patricia Williams, no relation, despite the shared surname. Supply Chain Manager, 2021-2023. Military veteran. 8 years of service, managed $4.2 million in vendor contracts. Performance issues appeared in her file 3 weeks before Tyler's hiring. The pattern was crystal clear. High-performing women eliminated systematically when senior positions became available. Their innovations absorbed into corporate knowledge. Their achievements credited to male successors. Brad wasn't just incompetent. He was predatory. Zara's phone buzzed with a call from Elena. "How are you holding up?" Elena's voice was tight with controlled anger. "Analyzing data points," Zara replied. 3 female managers, identical treatment patterns. This is corporate strategy, not coincidence. I've been thinking the same thing. Tyler's deleted files, the impossible deadlines, Brad's manufactured incompetence narrative. It's too coordinated to be spontaneous. Someone taught them this playbook. Through her reflection in the dark window, Zara saw herself 12 years ago. Lieutenant Williams reporting to Forward Operating Base Chapman, Afghanistan. Young, determined, terrified of failing her first command assignment. Her commanding officer had been a woman, Colonel Dorothy Chen. Tough, brilliant, uncompromising. The kind of leader who demanded excellence and accepted no excuses. Some battles require strategic patience, Williams, Colonel Chen had said during Zara's most challenging assignment. Real power moves in silence. Wait for the right moment, then strike decisively. The memory triggered something deeper. Colonel Chen's face, weathered by desert sun and command responsibility. Her precise way of speaking. Her habit of drumming fingers when analyzing complex logistics problems. Zara's heart stopped. She navigated to Meridian Tech's executive leadership page, scrolling past familiar faces until she reached the Board of Directors section. Dorothy Chen, board chair, former military officer. Founded Chen Strategic Consulting after retiring from the Army as a full colonel. The same Dorothy Chen who had commanded the 432nd Logistics Battalion in Afghanistan. The same Dorothy Chen who had taught Zara that real leaders don't need titles to lead. They need courage to stand. Elena, Zara's voice was barely above a whisper. I need you to do something for me. Anything. Check Tyler's employment history. Real employment history, not the sanitized version in his personnel file. I want dates, references, everything. You think he's hiding something? I think someone very powerful has been systematically destroying women's careers at this company, and I think they just made a crucial mistake. Elena's keyboard clicked rapidly through the phone. His LinkedIn shows gaps. 6 months unemployed before Meridian Tech. Previous job at Morrison Financial. Morrison Financial. That's his last name. Family business? Has to be. Small firm, 12 employees total. Tyler was listed as strategic consultant for 8 months. Strategic consultant at Daddy's company? Zara's tactical mind was accelerating now. What about his degree? Business administration from State University. But Elena, I'm seeing something else. 3 conduct violations during his senior year. Academic probation twice. The resume inflation was textbook. Family connections masquerading as professional experience. Academic mediocrity hidden behind generic degree credentials. Send me everything, Zara said. Every document, every timestamp, every deleted file you can recover. What are you planning? Through the rain-streaked window, Zara could see the city lights beginning to twinkle like stars. Millions of people going about their lives, unaware that battles for justice were being fought in corporate conference rooms and empty offices. 12 years ago, Colonel Chen taught me that some wars are won before the enemy knows they're fighting, Zara said quietly. I think it's time to apply that lesson. Elena's sharp intake of breath was audible. You have a plan. I have a mission. Zara's voice carried the steel of military precision. And unlike Brad Kellerman, I don't leave soldiers behind. The rain intensified against the windows, each drop a tiny act of persistence against an immovable surface. But water, given enough time and pressure, could carve through solid rock. Zara Williams was done being patient. It was time to move. Saturday morning found Zara at her kitchen table, laptop open, documents spread across the surface like battle plans. Elena sat across from her, a USB drive and stack of printed emails between them. Tyler's employment history is fiction, Elena said, sliding a folder toward Zara. Morrison Financial is his uncle's tax preparation service, 12 employees total, including family members. Zara studied the documents. Strategic consultant for 8 months. What did he actually do? Filed papers and answered phones, according to his former supervisor. I called pretending to be from a background check company. The resume inflation was more extensive than they'd imagined. VP of Student Organizations meant treasurer of his fraternity. Logistics coordinator was a summer internship organizing campus tours. Here's the real evidence, Elena said, opening her laptop. Deleted files from the shared drive. I recovered everything Tyler thought he'd destroyed. The screen filled with email threads, time-stamped conversations, deleted reports. Tyler asking Brad for guidance on handling difficult employees. Brad's responses were textbook discrimination wrapped in corporate language. Some people require more direct management. Document everything. Create clear performance expectations that highlight areas of weakness. Military backgrounds can be challenging. They're used to following orders, not independent thinking. Build a paper trail. Missed deadlines, communication issues, leadership deficiencies, make it bulletproof. Zara read the exchanges with tactical precision. This wasn't incompetence or coincidence. This was conspiracy. "There's more," Elena said, scrolling down. Brad's communication with HR about performance improvement plans for female employees. 3 women in 5 years, identical language patterns. The evidence was overwhelming. Systematic discrimination disguised as performance management. Career assassination with corporate fingerprints. But Zara needed more than evidence. She needed leverage. Sunday evening, she researched Meridian Tech's board of directors composition. 7 members total. Dorothy Chen held the chair position with significant voting influence on executive decisions. Board meetings occurred monthly. Next session, Monday, 2 p.m. Zara crafted her approach carefully. Not a complaint or accusation. Those could be dismissed or buried in HR bureaucracy. This required strategic presentation to decision-makers who controlled Brad's future. She would request 5 minutes to present operational efficiency findings. Technical analysis, not personal grievance. Let the evidence speak for itself. Monday morning arrived with crisp autumn air and the sound of her Honda's engine turning over reluctantly. Zara dressed carefully, her best navy suit, military posture, confidence masking 12 years of preparation for this moment. The office buzzed with typical Monday energy. Tyler bounded around with nervous enthusiasm, already talking about transformational leadership initiatives to anyone who would listen. Brad was nowhere to be seen, probably preparing for the board meeting that would determine Meridian Tech's operational future. At 1:45 p.m., Zara walked to the executive conference room on the 15th floor. Mahogany table polished to mirror brightness. Leather chairs arranged with military precision. Windows overlooking the city where real power was exercised quietly, efficiently. The board members filed in one by one. Zara recognized most faces from company newsletters and annual reports. Successful, influential, accustomed to making decisions that affected thousands of employees. Dorothy Chen entered last, her bearing unmistakably military despite civilian dress. Gray hair pulled back severely. Posture that commanded respect without demanding it. Their eyes met briefly. Recognition flickered across Dorothy's face. Surprise, calculation, something deeper that might have been pride. Brad arrived precisely at 2 p.m., his leather portfolio stuffed with quarterly reports and strategic projections. He paused when he saw Zara sitting at the far end of the table. "Ms. Williams?" His tone was carefully neutral. "This is a board meeting, executive level only." Ms. Williams requested 5 minutes to present operational efficiency findings, Dorothy Chen said calmly. "I approved her request." Brad's face flushed slightly. "Perhaps this could be rescheduled." "Please proceed, Ms. Williams," Dorothy interrupted. Zara stood, connecting her laptop to the conference room's presentation system. Her hands were steady, voice clear, military training taking control. "Board members, thank you for this opportunity. I'm presenting data analysis on operational efficiency trends over the past 5 years. The first slide displayed Meridian Tech's productivity metrics: clean, professional, irrefutable. Our warehouse operations have achieved 34% efficiency improvements since 2020. Processing time reduced from 4.2 days to 2.8 days average. Cost savings totaling $2.3 million annually." Brad shifted uncomfortably. These were Zara's innovations, but presented as company-wide achievements. "Timeline analysis reveals interesting correlations," Zara continued, advancing to the next slide. A graph showed productivity spikes corresponding to specific initiatives, Each spike was labeled with the actual project developer. Sarah Chen's client retention protocols, Michelle Rodriguez's vendor negotiation strategies, Patricia Williams's supply chain optimizations. All women, all systematically eliminated. These efficiency improvements were developed by operations specialists who were subsequently restructured out of leadership positions, Zara said matter-of-factly. The room went silent. Dorothy Chen leaned forward slightly, her expression unreadable. Conversely, Zara clicked to the next slide, productivity declined following each restructuring. Average processing time increased 15% when innovations were transferred to new management. Brad's pen clicked nervously against the mahogany table. These metrics don't account for transition periods and learning curves. Actually, they do. Zara's voice carried quiet authority. The data includes 6-month adjustment periods for all leadership transitions. She advanced to a slide showing Tyler's performance metrics since his promotion. Productivity down 12%. Customer complaints up 23%. 2 major vendor contracts lost to competitors. Current operational efficiency has declined significantly under recent leadership changes, Zara stated. The board members exchanged glances. Numbers didn't lie, and these numbers painted a clear picture of systematic mismanagement. Dorothy Chen spoke for the first time since the presentation began. Ms. Williams, your analytical approach reminds me of someone I once knew. Military logistics background, perhaps? The question hung in the air like a revelation waiting to unfold. Yes, ma'am. 432nd Logistics Battalion, Afghanistan, 2012-2015. Dorothy's expression shifted almost imperceptibly. Lieutenant Williams. Forward Operating Base, Chapman. The board members looked confused, but Brad's face went pale. The military connection was more than background. It was personal history between the board chair and the woman he'd been systematically destroying. Colonel Chen, Zara said quietly, you taught me that excellence speaks louder than politics. And you learned that lesson well. Dorothy's voice carried steel beneath silk. Please continue your presentation. Brad was sweating now, his confident corporate demeanor cracking. Tyler wasn't even in the room, a middle manager excluded from executive decisions that would determine his future. Board members, Zara continued, I've discovered concerning patterns in our personnel management practices. She clicked to a slide showing email communications, Tyler and Brad's conspiracy laid bare in their own words. Build a paper trail. Missed deadlines, communication issues, leadership deficiencies. Make it bulletproof. The room erupted in whispered conversations. Board members leaned forward, reading the damning evidence displayed on the screen. These communications detail systematic efforts to undermine female employees through manufactured performance issues, Zara explained. Dorothy Chen's expression was arctic. Mr. Kellerman, are these authentic communications? Brad's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Context is important. Personnel management requires... Yes or no, Mr. Kellerman? The communications may be authentic, but the interpretation... The interpretation is clear, Dorothy cut him off. Continue, Ms. Williams. Zara advanced to her final slide. Tyler Morrison's complete employment history, academic record, and falsified credentials. Our current operations manager's qualifications include significant resume inflation. Previous employment at Morrison Financial, a family tax preparation service with 12 employees. Academic probation twice during college. No prior management experience outside family connections. The board members studied the documentation in stunned silence. Brad stood abruptly. This is character assassination. Tyler Morrison was selected through proper hiring procedures. Proper procedures would include background verification, Dorothy Chen said coldly. Were Mr. Morrison's credentials independently verified? Of course they were verified. By whom? Dorothy's question was surgical in its precision. Brad stammered, realizing the trap. HR conducted standard background checks. HR reports to you, Mr. Kellerman. Who verified the verification? The silence was deafening. Security guards' radios crackled in the distance. Traffic hummed 15 floors below. The mahogany table reflected conference room lights like a mirror. Zara delivered her final strike with military precision. Board members, I present these findings not as personal grievance, but as operational risk assessment. Systematic elimination of high-performing employees threatens our competitive advantage and exposes the company to significant legal liability. She paused, letting the implications sink in. Integrity isn't negotiable. Excellence isn't optional. The 5 words hung in the air like a battle cry, echoing Colonel Chen's training from a desert base half a world away. Brad made one last desperate attempt to maintain control. Ms. Williams' military background creates certain challenges in corporate environments. Following orders isn't the same as strategic leadership. Enough! Dorothy Chen's voice cut through his rambling like a blade. Mr. Kellerman, your comments demonstrate exactly the discriminatory attitudes documented in these communications. The other board members nodded agreement. The evidence was overwhelming, undeniable. Furthermore, Dorothy continued, questioning Ms. Williams's military service in my presence was remarkably poor judgment. Brad's face went ashen as he realized his mistake. The board chair was not just any executive. She was a decorated colonel who took military service seriously. Tyler chose that moment to burst through the conference room doors, panic written across his face. Brad, we need to talk. Elena Rodriguez is asking questions about my employment history and... He stopped mid-sentence, realizing the entire board was staring at him. Mr. Morrison, Dorothy said calmly, please join us. We were just discussing your qualifications. Tyler's confident demeanor evaporated as he saw his falsified credentials displayed on the presentation screen. I can explain. No need, Dorothy said. The documentation is quite comprehensive. Brad threw Tyler under the bus without hesitation. I was misled by his application materials. If there were inaccuracies, that's not my responsibility. Everything is your responsibility, Mr. Kellerman, Dorothy replied. That's what executive leadership means. The board members were already reaching their verdict. The evidence was clear, the pattern undeniable, the legal liability enormous. Dorothy Chen stood, her command presence filling the room. Effective immediately, I'm calling for emergency executive review of all personnel decisions made under Mr. Kellerman's supervision. She turned to Zara, respect evident in her expression. Ms. Williams, pending board approval, you are hereby appointed acting vice president of operations. The power transfer was swift, surgical, complete. 12 years of patience, culminating in strategic victory. Brad and Tyler sat in stunned silence as their corporate empire crumbled around them. Justice, Zara realized, sometimes moved exactly like water, persistent, patient, unstoppable. The corner office felt different with Zara behind the mahogany desk. Same city view, same leather chair, but the energy had shifted completely. Her small succulent sat beside a framed photo of her military unit, both symbols of resilience in harsh environments. Elena knocked on the open door, coffee in hand and a grin stretching across her face. How does it feel to have an office with actual windows? Surreal, Zara admitted, reviewing the stack of personnel files Dorothy Chen had requested. 12 years of dreaming about this moment and now... Now you're actually qualified for it, Elena finished, unlike certain former VPs. Through the glass walls, they could see the aftermath of yesterday's board meeting. Brad's office was dark, his personal items already boxed by security. Tyler's cubicle sat empty, computer access revoked at 6 a.m. sharp. Speaking of Tyler, Elena said, sliding a resignation letter across the desk. Hand-delivered this morning, effective immediately. Zara scanned the brief document. No explanations, no apologies, just legal language designed to minimize liability exposure. His uncle's tax firm rescinded their job offer too, Elena added. Apparently, falsifying credentials doesn't play well in family businesses either. Corporate justice was swift once the evidence became undeniable. Brad had been terminated for performance management irregularities. Tyler resigned to avoid formal investigation. Both men would struggle to find executive positions elsewhere. Word traveled fast in their industry. At 10 a.m., Dorothy Chen called an emergency all-hands meeting. The main conference room overflowed with employees, tension crackling like electricity through the crowd. Zara stood beside Dorothy at the front of the room, her military posture commanding respect she'd never received as a regular employee. Effective immediately, Dorothy announced, Meridian Tech is implementing comprehensive changes to our leadership structure and promotion protocols. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Elena sat in the front row, barely containing her satisfaction. Zara Williams has been appointed Vice President of Operations, pending board ratification next week. Dorothy's voice carried authority that silenced any potential objections. Her 12 years of operational excellence and proven leadership capabilities make her ideally suited for this role. The applause started slowly, then built to a standing ovation. Employees who had witnessed Zara's systematic humiliation were now celebrating her vindication. The sound echoed off conference room walls like vindication itself. Furthermore, Dorothy continued, we're implementing mandatory bias training for all management positions and establishing independent oversight for promotion decisions. The systemic changes were as important as the individual justice. 3 other women would be promoted within the month. Sarah Chen returning as Senior Operations Director, Michelle Rodriguez appointed to Project Management VP, Patricia Williams offered a consulting position to redesign their supply chain protocols. During the lunch break, Zara's phone buzzed with a call from her father. Sweetheart, I saw the company announcement online. Vice President? His voice cracked with emotion. Your mother cried when she read it. It's been a long road, Dad. Your mother wants to know if this means better health insurance. Zara laughed, the first genuine laugh she'd had in weeks. Premium coverage, Dad. Top tier. She says she's proud of you. We both are. The personal victory was sweeter than the professional triumph. Her parents' medications would be covered. Her own future was secure. Most importantly, other women wouldn't face the systematic discrimination that had nearly destroyed her career. Elena appeared in her doorway holding a tablet. You need to see this. The local business journal had published an article titled, Military Veteran Exposes Corporate Discrimination at Tech Firm. Zara's photo accompanied quotes about leadership, integrity, and fighting for systemic change. It's trending on social media, Elena said. Other women are sharing similar experiences. You've started something bigger than just fixing Meridian Tech. The ripple effects were already beginning. 3 other companies in their industry were reviewing promotion practices. A law firm specializing in employment discrimination had contacted Zara about consulting opportunities. One victory had sparked a movement. Wednesday brought news of Brad's fate. His strategic consulting firm had lost 2 major clients within 48 hours. Word of his discriminatory practices had spread through professional networks like wildfire. Tyler was working at a small logistics company for half his previous salary, no management responsibilities, no company car, no executive perks. His LinkedIn profile had been scrubbed of falsified achievements. Both men had learned that reputation, once destroyed by documented misconduct, was nearly impossible to rebuild. Zara felt no satisfaction in their downfall, only relief that the threat to other women had been eliminated. Thursday afternoon, Zara walked through the warehouse that had been central to her efficiency innovations. Workers who had barely acknowledged her as a middle manager now approached with respect and genuine warmth. Ms. Williams, called out Marcus Thompson, a forklift operator with 20 years' experience. Heard about your promotion. About time somebody who understands operations got some real authority. Similar conversations happened throughout the week. Employees who had witnessed her competence but couldn't speak up were now vocal in their support. The efficiency protocols she'd developed were being expanded company-wide. Productivity had already increased 8% in the week since Tyler's departure, simply by removing incompetent interference from proven systems. Friday brought a call from the National Association of Women Veterans, requesting Zara as a keynote speaker for their annual conference. "Your story represents everything we stand for," the coordinator explained. "Military excellence translating to civilian leadership despite systemic barriers." Zara accepted the speaking engagement. Her story was bigger than personal vindication. It was proof that integrity and excellence could triumph over politics and prejudice. The transformation was complete. The overlooked manager had become the company's operational leader. The silenced veteran had found her voice. The systematic victim had become an advocate for systemic change. As Friday afternoon sun streamed through her corner office windows, Zara reviewed the week's accomplishments. Policy changes implemented. Promotions approved. Systems improved. Justice served. Elena knocked and entered without waiting for permission, a privilege of friendship and shared battle. "So," Elena said, settling into the chair across from Zara's desk, "what's next?" Zara looked out at the city skyline, thinking about other women fighting similar battles in corporate conference rooms and cubicles throughout the metropolitan area. "Next, we make sure this never happens again," she said quietly. "Not here, not anywhere." The small succulent on her desk caught the late afternoon light, its thick leaves storing strength for whatever challenges lay ahead. Just like its owner. The same conference room where Zara's humiliation began now buzzed with different energy. Quarterly reports spread across the mahogany table told a story of remarkable transformation. Productivity up 67%. Employee satisfaction at company record highs. 3 major client contracts renewed with expanded terms. Meridian Tech had become a case study in operational excellence. Zara stood at the window, watching her practical SUV in the executive parking garage, an upgrade from her faithful Honda, but still modest, still grounded. The succulent from her old desk now thrived in a larger pot beside the window, its roots growing stronger in better soil. Elena entered carrying 2 cups of coffee and a folder thick with resumes. 5 more women applied for senior positions this week, Elena reported. Word is spreading that Meridian Tech actually promotes based on merit now. The systemic changes had created cultural transformation. Women who had remained silent for years were now speaking up, sharing ideas, pursuing leadership roles. Men who had perpetuated the old system were either adapting or leaving. "How's the Veterans Mentorship Program?" Zara asked. 12 participants already. Sarah Chen is designing the curriculum based on your leadership transition model. The program connected military veterans with corporate mentors, helping translate battlefield skills into boardroom success. Zara's story had inspired other companies to create similar initiatives. Dorothy Chen appeared in the doorway, her presence still commanding respect, but now carrying warmth reserved for trusted allies. "Board meeting in 5 minutes, Dorothy said. Final vote on the anti-discrimination policy expansion." The policy would become industry standard, thanks to Meridian Tech's leadership and documented success. Other companies were voluntarily adopting similar measures to avoid the reputational damage that systematic discrimination created. As they walked toward the boardroom, Dorothy spoke quietly. "You know, Lieutenant Williams, Vice President Williams, real leaders don't need titles to lead. They need courage to stand." The words echoed across years and continents, from a desert military base to a corporate boardroom. Truth remained constant even when circumstances changed. The board vote was unanimous. Meridian Tech's anti-discrimination policies would be shared with industry associations and implemented across their corporate partnerships. Brad Kellerman's consulting firm had closed permanently. Tyler Morrison was working entry-level logistics for a regional shipping company. his executive aspirations permanently grounded by documented incompetence. Meanwhile, the three women Brad had systematically eliminated were thriving in leadership roles throughout the industry. Sarah Chen had been promoted to VP at a competitor. Michelle Rodriguez was launching her own consulting firm. Patricia Williams was designing supply chain protocols for military contractors. The ripple effects continued expanding like circles on water. That evening, Zara returned to her office to prepare for tomorrow's presentation to the National Women's Leadership Conference. 5,000 attendees, live-streamed to corporate audiences worldwide. Her message was simple, powerful, tested by experience. Excellence and integrity always triumph over politics and prejudice. The words captured everything she'd learned through 12 years of patience, 1 week of strategic action, and 6 months of systemic change. Not just her story, but a universal truth about justice, persistence, and the power of standing up for what's right. These real-life stories matter because they're happening everywhere. In corporate offices, government agencies, small businesses, and startup companies. Black stories like Zara's represent thousands of touching stories where competence meets discrimination, where merit battles politics, where justice eventually prevails. But victory requires voices. It demands witnesses. It needs people willing to document injustice and speak truth to power. Have you witnessed workplace discrimination? Share your story in the comments below. Your voice matters, and together we can create change. Like this video if you believe merit should determine success, not politics or prejudice. Subscribe for more life stories of quiet strength overcoming systemic injustice. Share this with someone who needs to know that excellence, given enough time and courage, always finds a way to rise. Justice delayed isn't justice denied when integrity finally speaks. The truth always surfaces. The question is, will you help it rise?